Hi, folks. Welcome to your new favorite MMA show. I'm your host, Ibek, and here's my dear friend, Ensar. And today we're going to talk about some of the fights that we're going to see at UFC 276, do a little speedrun predictions. So, without further ado, let's start with Cerrone versus Miller. Cerrone has been trying to get a fight for the last month. He was set to fight Joe Lozon, and the first fight, he unfortunately got a very bad food poisoning and couldn't make it. And the second fight, his opponent, due to a bad weight cut, apparently his legs literally locked and he couldn't make it into the octagon. And now he's set to fight Jim Miller, and he wants to finalize his career with this fight. So, what do you think about this fight, Ansar?
I think that even though the first two fights with Joe Lozon fell through, I think that this is even better because now he's going to fight Jim Miller. Cerrone and Miller are both legends in their own rights in the sport of MMA. So it's only fair that Donald Cerrone ends his career with such a poetic fight. And win, lose, or draw, I think it's going to be a very fun fight. I think we should be expecting a finish from either one of those guys. But I do believe that due to the recent successful activity of Jim Miller, he will more than likely walk away with a victory in this fight, possibly even a TKO.
Yeah, well, they say that the third time's the charm. So let's hope and see this fight tomorrow night. So uh, next fight we have O'Malley going up against number ninth contender Munoz. What do you think about this fight, Ensa?
I think that Munoz looked very good against Aldo in his last outing. He did lose the fight, obviously, but I mean, it's Jose Aldo, so that's not much of a knock on him. Um, but of course, he did look very clean, very technical in that fight. But of course, he does have a reach and height disadvantage against Sean O'Malley. So, not to mention the very unorthodox, very unconventional, flashy style of Sugar Sean O'Malley. I think it's going to be a very tough fight for Munoz. He's going to have to mix it up if he, expects to win this fight. But I do believe that due to the unconventionality of Sugar Sean O'Malley and also his height and reach advantage, I think he will probably walk away with a victory. If not a TKO, then at the very least a decision win.
Yeah, well, it's certainly going to be a very exciting fight, I believe. Up again, now we have Lawler versus Barberena. Lawler obviously had his fascinating fight against Nick Diaz after all those years. Proved that he still got it and, at 40 years old, and now he's going to go against Barberena. What do you think?
I think that's a very fun fight. Of course, Robbie Lawler is 40 years of age, so we're gonna see how that plays out. You know, is he gonna have a second wind like somebody like Glover Teixeira, or is his age finally gonna catch up to him? That's gonna be a very big question that's gonna be answered this weekend. Of course, he does have the experience advantage on his side, but then on the other hand, his opponent Brian Barberena does have the youth advantage. So, in both guys like to slug it out. Neither of them is necessarily a grappler by default. So, I do believe that it's going to be a very fun slugfest. But I do believe that due to the wealth of experience that Robbie Lawler has in the octagon and also his pure grit, I do believe that he is going to walk away with a W in this fight, potentially and more than likely by TKO.
Well, we'll have to wait and see. One more sleep. So we have Strickland going against Alex Pereira, Israel Adesanya's personal boogeyman. Strickland obviously likes to jab a lot, and now he's got a professional kickboxer against him who has two victories against the champ Israel Adesanya. His having his very incredibly fast run of the division, potentially getting a title shot if he wins this fight against Strickland. What do you think?
I think this is going to be one of the best fights on this card, maybe even better than the main event. Um, because I believe that Strickland is very tough. You know, he has a great chin. He's only been finished, I think, once by strikes, and that was back in, I believe, 2018. That was 4 years ago, so it doesn't really count, does it? I mean, he's really developed since then. And then on the other hand, we have a very refined striker who's not as much experienced in MMA as he is a legend in kickboxing, of course, in Alex Pereira. So we're going to see how that plays out. But I do believe personally that Alex Pereira is going to be a little too elusive in that fight, a little too refined in his striking for Sean Strickland. And I do believe that he will have the edge in that department, leading to a decision win for Alex Pereira because I mean it's Sean Strickland. How are you going to put him out, right? I mean the guy just comes forward with his chin down. He's talking to you. He doesn't get knocked out. So I believe it's going to be very difficult to knock him out, but it's obviously a possibility. But I do believe that Alex Pereira wins this fight via decision.
Well, certainly Sean is going to have to mix it up if he wants that W. So, next up,
Yeah.
we have the much expected trilogy, Volkanovski going against Holloway for the third time. I've recently seen the first fight. Some people like to say that that fight was close. I watched that fight and I didn't really think that was anywhere close to a Holloway win. But the second fight obviously was very much disputed by everybody, and I think that Holloway was really robbed in that fight. So this third fight is the one to put the nail in the coffin and set in stone who's the best. I think Volkanovski might be overlooking Holloway a little bit. I listened to an interview a week ago, I think, and he was saying he wants to move up a weight class and fight some of the killers in the lightweight division. I don't know if that's a smart decision. I'd like to ask you that as well.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I believe that the lightweight division is arguably the hardest division in not just the UFC, but the entire industry of MMA. So it's going to be a very tough, feat for him to go up to lightweight and then, dominate there as well. But of course, we would all love to see that kind of experiment by him. But to get back to the Max Holloway fight, I do believe that personally that Max Holloway did win the second fight. But of course, it was a very very close fight, so I can understand why some people scored it in favor of Volkanovski. But with that being said, I do believe that Max Holloway, because of his very high output and his success in his recent bouts, will walk away with the W because both guys have a lot of experience with each other. These guys have spent a total of an hour inside the octagon together. This is very rare. You don't usually see guys going up against each other who have an hour of experience in the octagon. So I do believe that Max has been successful in the second fight, and he'll be even more successful because he's got down the timing and the patterns and the style of Volkanovski, and I think that's going to play a major factor in this fight. And I do believe that neither guy's going to get a finish. I believe it's very hard to finish either guy, whether it's via submission or via TKO. So I do believe that Max Holloway is going to walk away with a decision victory in this fight, and potentially even lose a few rounds. But I do believe that he'll get the job done this weekend.
Well, either way, I think it's going to be disputed because each side has their own fans that are really passionate about their fighter. So let's wait and see how this one goes. And lastly, we have Israel Adesanya going against the killer gorilla Jared Cannonier. I think that Jared, his timing is a little off. I think he's a little old to get this title shot against, potentially one of the biggest superstars of MMA of today. Israel Adesanya, he's 32, 33 years old, incredible athleticism. When he kicks, you don't see the kick. You just see like the after effect on the camera, just his leg going down. I was just like very, surprised by that. Incredibly fast. And now he's going to fight Jared Cannonier. But recently, even though, I think that Izzy's going to win this fight easily, recently I've seen an interview of him and he was saying that he doesn't care about winning anymore. He wants to just have these like highlight reels that show him the way he is as a great true mixed martial artist. So he might go out there guns blazing and make a few mistakes, and Jarrett might take advantage of those mistakes and get that W at 38 years old, and that would be definitely an insane story like Glover Teixeira's story against John Blachowicz. So what do you think?
Definitely, definitely. I think it's a very fun fight. Um, but in terms of solving the Adesanya puzzle, Jan Blachowicz was able to do it, but that was partly because of his physical attributes. He was just much bigger than Adesanya, much more powerful. So he was very successfully able to mix it up with him. Now, if Jared Cannonier expects to win, he's going to have to mix it up. But the problem is, Jared Cannonier is not known for his very elite wrestling and or grappling. The man is primarily a striker with dynamite in his hands. But of course, Adesanya is Adesanya. He's very refined in his striking. His timing is almost perfect, et cetera, et cetera. Very good takedown defense as well. So I do believe that due to the refined striking of Adesanya, and also the fact that he's in his prime currently, while Cannonier is 38 years of age, I believe. So I believe that Adesanya is not just going to win by decision. I think he's going to win by TKO, and that's saying a lot because Cannonier is game. I mean, he doesn't go out easily. So I do believe that Adesanya is going to pull another W in this fight, and I think we're gonna see a very beautiful TKO in this fight.
Well, certainly it's going to be a very interesting fight, and we're going to see tonight. Well, thank you, folks. Thanks for watching us. That's a wrap for us. We're planning to do a recap of these insane fights that we're going to see tonight. So tune in Sunday morning, and you'll be seeing us talk about these fights with more detail. So, do you have anything else to say, Ansar?
No, definitely tune in. You will not be disappointed.
Okay, see you guys.